So back to our channel, we are in our CVS physiology. So yeah, we already completed our normal ECG. So from our guideline, we are in our chapter 34, that is clinical applications of ECG. So we will divide it into three parts so that we can the video will be shorter and we can focus more on what is taught. So first, let us start as usual with our keywords. So the first one we have angina pectoris. So first we need to understand what is this. It is a chest pain due to inadequate supply of oxygen to cardiac muscle. So of course we can say like hypoxic condition or like in any other condition. Mainly the definition of this angina pectoris is whenever the oxygen is inadequately supplied to our heart muscle. So whenever the oxygen is low, we get the pain in the chest, that is the angina pectoris. And next coming to heart block. So heart block is a delay or complete block in transmission of cardiac impulse along the conducting pathway. So it is like delay means either it is coming slow or completely blocked in the transmission of cardiac impulse along the conducting pathway. So we know what is the conducting pathway. Actually first the action potential start in our SA node, the pacemaker, and from the SA node it comes to AV node, and from the AV node to bundle of His, from bundle of His to the fastest conducting Purkinje fibers, and from there into whole ventricle muscle. So that is the normal pathway. But whenever there is any heart block, the blocking is nothing but blocking of conduction. You can understand whenever our electrical activity, that is from our action potential, is converted into mechanical activity, that is nothing but our contraction in the case of our heart. So here, because of heart block means the conduction is stopped. If the conduction of impulses is stopped, of course the contraction also will stop. So that is nothing but the heart block. And it's coming to myocardial infarction. It is nothing but a heart attack. So it is obstruction of circulation to the part of heart resulting in cell death or necrosis. You can understand in a myocardial, a part of myocardium gets scar tissue, it gets necrosis. So because of that there may be obstruction to the circulation because blood can't supply to that part. So this is what causing myocardial infarction. And now let us see palpitations. So palpitations is like let us see what is it. Normally we feel like increase in heartbeat, so let us see it's rapid heartbeat. So it is a usually uncomfortable sensation in which a person is aware of irregular hard rapid heartbeat. Yeah, of course. So it's like uncomfortable because your heart gets beating very rapidly and even you can feel that, so it's an uncomfortable situation. So this is about palpitations. So now let us go into our topic. So the most distressing types of heart malfunction occur because of abnormal rhythm of the heart, of course. So sometimes the beat of atria is not coordinated with the beat of ventricles. So the atria no longer function as a primer pump for ventricles. So sometimes what happens, actually we know first from the atria the impulse carried to the ventricle, but sometimes the atria may have some improper function abnormalities. So because of that even the ventricular cycle or ventricular conduction is also disturbed. So here the atria will not act as a pacemaker, and instead in some cases what happens is ventricle itself will form its own pacemaker. A ventricle now turns into pacemaker and it starts beating. So because of that reason atria will have some different impulses and ventricle will have, so it will not work like a coordinate fashion, they'll have difference in their impulses. So we'll see all those conditions. So the cause of cardiac arrhythmias is mainly due to abnormalities in rhythmicity, that is conduction system of a heart, of course. So abnormal rhythmicity of pacemaker, shifts of pacemaker from SA node to another pacemaker in the heart, like even AV node sometimes work as pacemaker if atria fail to, and blocks at different points in spread of impulse by heart or abnormal pathways of impulse transmission by heart, or other reason may be spontaneous generation of spurious impulses in almost any part of heart, then it is called as ectopic foci. Ectopic means normal our pacemaker is what, only our SA node. So if other than SA node any other structure like AV node or Purkinje fibers, any other fibers act as pacemaker, then it will be called as ectopic pacemaker. So this is just an introduction part. So now let us see our deeper part. So first let us see the abnormal sinus rhythms. In the name you can understand abnormal sinus rhythm. Sinus means from SA node. So from SA node some abnormal rhythms are coming. So let us see what are those. So they are divided into like first one tachycardia, that is faster heartbeat, bradycardia, slower heartbeat, and also we have a sinus arrhythmia. So sinus arrhythmia is like another type. So first let us see our abnormal sinus rhythms. So first one tachycardia. So tachycardia is nothing but the fast heart rate, that is like how much faster, like faster than 100 beats per minute, in and in an adult, and the time interval between the QRS complex is like 150 beats per minute. Normally we know in a normal adult the time interval between QRS complex in an ECG should be 72 beats, because we all know heartbeat is like about 72 beats per minute. But here in the tachycardia, in this case the heart rate is very fast, so the time interval is like between the QRS complex is also like 150 beats per minute, so very fast beating of heart. So what are the causes why this fast beating taking place? Because increase in body temperature. So when a fever comes, tachycardia may come. So how? We'll see all the causes. And next, stimulation of heart by sympathetic nerves. Of course we know sympathetic is released when are in stress, yeah, fight or flight hormone. So in stressful conditions you can understand, because of sympathetic innervation or stimulation, our heartbeat increases. And also by toxic conditions of heart. So let us see what are those conditions. So first one, that is first degree, for 1 degree Fahrenheit, the heart rate increases about 10 beats per minute. Means if our body temperature increases by only 1 degree Fahrenheit, then even our heartbeat increases 10 beats. And 18 beats increase for 1 degree Celsius. So in Celsius, for 1 degree increase in body temperature, 18 beats are produced, whereas in Fahrenheit, for 1 Fahrenheit about 10 beats are produced in our heart. So up to body temperature of like 105 degree Fahrenheit or 40.5 degrees Celsius, our heart can have this kind of beats. But if the temperature is beyond 40.5 degrees Celsius, the heart rate may decrease because of progressive deability of heart muscle as a result of fever. So if the fever is only up to 40.5 degrees Celsius, then you can understand the final beat is like about 18 beats for every increase in 1 degree Celsius. But if our body temperature increases beyond 40.5 degrees Celsius, then our heart rate may decrease progressively now, because now the heart power has decreased. It is deability of a heart muscle as a result of fever. So fever causes tachycardia because of increase in temperature, which this increase in temperature in turn increases the rate of metabolism in sinus nodes. So this in turn increases excitability and rate of rhythm. So this is the rhythm, main reason behind the fever. So whenever we have fever, the rate of metabolism of SA node also increases. So this leads to increase in our heart rate, that is tachycardia. So many factors can also cause sympathetic nervous system innervation to excite the heart. Like this may increase the heart rate to like about 150 to 180 beats per minute. So whenever the sympathetic nervous system stimulates our heart rate increases to like 150 to 180 beats per minute. So weakening of myocardium, increase heart rate because, yeah, so our myocardium weaks because of this increase in heart rate. Why? Because the weakened heart don't pump blood into arterial tree to normal extent, and this process causes decrease in blood pressure and elicits the sympathetic reflex to increase the heart rate. So this is the reason whenever we have a weak myocardium, when our myocardium is very weak, we see that we have lot of heart rate, that is tachycardia is seen in weakening of myocardium because of higher sympathetic stimulation. So that is the reasons. So now let us move on to bradycardia. Bradycardia means slower heart rate. So slow heart rate, like few than just 60 beats per minute. Normally it is 72, right? Less than 72 or like less than 60 beats. So bradycardia is mainly seen in athletes. While it is in athletes, well-trained athlete, the heart is larger and stronger than the normal person, and they also have the large stroke volume output per beat even during the rest. So when athlete is at rest, the excessive blood is pumped into arterial tree with each beat, which initiate the feedback circulatory reflex or other effects to cause the bradycardia. So mainly the bradycardia is seen in athletes because of the feedback mechanism, because here the blood pumped is very high, and also our heart size is very high. So because of this, the arterial tree with each beat initiate the feedback circulatory. So because of each beat, they have the feedback circulatory reflex, which decreases the heart rate in the athletes. So also vagal stimulation causes bradycardia, we know, because vagal is a parasympathetic, parasympathetic for peace. So whenever in peaceful conditions, our parasympathetic nerve activates it. So vagal stimulation causes bradycardia, which mainly release the acetylcholine, and this gives a parasympathetic effect. So most striking example of this occurs in carotid sinus syndrome. So how? Let us see. So we have pressure receptors like baroreceptors in our carotid sinus of carotid artery walls, which are excessively sensitive. So whenever this as it is very sensitive even mild external pressure on the neck elicits the strong baroreceptor reflex, causing intense vagal release of acetylcholine effects on the heart, including the extreme bradycardia. So this reflex stops the heart for like about even 5 to 10 seconds. So sometimes in the bradycardia, even heartbeat stops like about 5 to 10 seconds because of the parasympathetic stimulation. That too mainly on the baroreceptors. Baroreceptors are present on carotid artery wall. So like they are very sensitive to any changes. So whenever there is parasympathetic, it directly attacks the baroreceptors. So this in turn causes more vagal stimulation, more release of acetylcholine, and more activation. So hence the heart rate is decreased. And remember, even sometimes the heart may also stop beating like about 5 to 10 seconds in the extreme cases. So now let us see the sinus arrhythmia. So before knowing sinus arrhythmia, we should know about one machine called as cardiotachometer. So this mainly record the heart rate by height of successive peaks. So you know what are the successive peaks, that is between the QRS complex. So between the QRS complex in a ECG, of course we will take out our heartbeat, we will find out, and also we have our RR interval, right? That is our Q peak, right? So in the RR interval, we'll mainly record the heart rate. So cardiotachometer is used mainly, so that is to remember. And now let us observe during respiration how our heart rate is. So in quiet, that is normal respiration, the heart rate may increase or decrease, but not more than 5%. But whereas in deep respiration, the heart rate may increase or decrease with respiratory cycle as 30%. So during deep respiration, you have like more changes in a heart rate when compared with normal quiet respiration. So this arises mainly due to the alteration of signals of strength of sympathetic and parasympathetic stimulation to our heart sinus node. So mainly from the spillover of signals from medullary respiratory center. So in medullary respiratory center, some of the signals may also spill over into adjacent vasomotor centers. So because of the spilling over during the inspiration and expiratory cycles of respiration, so because of this there are changes in the respiration as we seen here. So because of spilling over, these changes are seen in our heart rate during the quiet respiration and deep respiration. So spillover mainly cause the alternate in increase or decrease in the number of impulses which are transmitted by both sympathetic as well as like vagus of parasympathetic of our heart. So the abnormal rhythms that result from the block of heart signals within the intracardiac conduction pathway. So yeah, there are some abnormal rhythms which are leading to intracardiac conduction disturbances in the pathway. So what are those? Mainly are SA block and AV block, because these are the main conducting means these are the main centers which produce the conduction pathway. So let us see. So first let us check out SA block. So SA block, SA node impulse is blocked before entering the arterial muscle. So the sudden cessation of P waves. Here the P waves are not seen with standstill of atria. Because you can understand, if SA node is blocked, means the impulse will not come from SA node. So the atria will stand still. That is, atria will stop there. It will not have any impulse, and even there is sudden cessation of P waves, because P wave is formed mainly due to the atrial depolarization. So if there is no impulse coming only from heart SA node, then how our atria will work and how the P wave will form. So that is the link, that in SA node the P wave will not form, and the ventricles will pick new rhythm with spontaneous AV node rhythm. So the rate of ventricular QRS-T complex is slowed but not otherwise altered. So here what happens, as from SA node the rhythm is not coming, now AV node will spontaneously form its new rhythm, and it of course varies with atria, and this is slow, just this is slow, but it is not altered. And next, coming to AV block. In normal impulse, from atria it will pass to ventricle by means of our AV node or AV bundle. This is also known as bundle of His. So the reasons, now let us see what are the reasons for AV block, why AV block is taking place. So first one is ischemia. Whenever ischemia, there is low blood flowing to the heart, especially to AV node or bundle. So here the coronary insufficiency cause ischemia. Coronary insufficiency, because coronary artery only gives blood supply to our heart. So if there is coronary insufficiency, there is low blood supply to the heart, which causes ischemia, and also to myocardium in the same way. Of course, if not only to AV bundle, first to AV bundle mainly, and later to of course whole myocardium. And next, coming to compression by scar tissue. Yeah, of course in the case of our myocardial infarction, there is a scar tissue, then it may compress our AV block, AV node, and also like calcified portion in the AV node. These may all block the AV node, which depress or block the conduction. And next, coming to inflammation. Yeah, if the AV node undergoes the process of inflammation, you can understand it is blocked. It depresses the conduction from atria to ventricles, and it also causes from myocarditis myocarditis, which is caused by diphtheria or rheumatic fever. So in diphtheria or rheumatic fever you see myocarditis. Even this is a cause which blocks the AV node. And extreme stimulation by vagus, yeah, vagus giving a negative impact, that is it is parasympathetic. So if it is extreme, mainly due to strong stimulation of baroreceptors, they are very sensitive. So whenever the parasympathetic gets activated, they may block the AV node in carotid sinus syndrome. Mainly this is seen in carotid sinus syndrome. So now let us move on to incomplete AV block. So we have seen the complete AV block, now incomplete AV block. So what is the difference between them? Let us find out. The first one is prolonged PR or PQ interval. So why this is getting prolonged? This is also called as primary block. So normally the time between the beginning of P wave and QRS wave is like 0.16 second. But this is 0.16 second. Yeah, this is called as PR interval. It is decreased in length when with the faster heartbeat and increased with slower heartbeat. So remember, PR interval is decreased with faster heartbeats, because you can understand the RR interval is decreased because heart is now beating very fast. So as it's beating fast, the intervals appear very fast in a ECG, so the interval decreases. Whereas in case of slow beating, you can understand the farness increases between the peaks of our heart. And here, yeah, heartbeat. And next, coming to normal. Normally if PR interval increases to 0.20 second, then we call it as prolonged PR interval, and the patient may have primary incomplete heart block. And here the interval is like about 0.30 second instead of 0.20 or less. So what is prolonged PQ interval or primary block? Primary block means nothing but we are having the prolonged PR interval. So here you can see the first degree block, prolonged PR interval. So you can see the interval between it's very far, like about 0.30 seconds. Normally if it is only 0.20 seconds, we say it's prolonged, but in the primary degree it is more prolonged, like 0.30 seconds difference between each PR interval. So it's like prolonged heartbeat. So that is nothing but called as primary heart block. So you can see here the primary block, delay of conduction from atria to ventricle, but not actual blockage of conduction. Yeah, it's not completely blocked. So hence it is called as incomplete block. But before we have seen the complete AV block. So this is incomplete block, that is primary block. Only the interval is prolonged, but completely the impulse is not stopped. So PR interval may increase above 0.35 to 0.45 second because that time conduction by AV bundle decreases or stop completely. So if the PR interval increases like about 0.35 to 0.45, it's like you can understand that, because by that time the conduction by AV bundles is decreased, because so much prolonged interval means conduction only will decrease and stop completely. Then it may undergo into complete AV block, because it is like so much dangerous time, 0.35 to 0.45. 0.30 seconds only it's very dangerous, but it is going beyond, then it may undergo complete block. So for finding the diseases like acute rheumatic heart disease, we can measure the PR interval. So mainly to find the acute rheumatic heart disease, we use a PR interval as a parameter. So next, coming to the secondary block. So let us see what is secondary block. So when the AV bundle conduction is decreased to and increase the PR interval to, so AV bundle conduction is here decreased. Why it is decreased? To increase the PR interval to 0.25 to 0.45 seconds. So this is a reverse condition second case, that is AV bundle. The conduction is decreased to increase the PR interval. So here the PR interval is very low. So to increase the PR interval, the conduction is only decreased. So here the action potential is very strong to pass by bundle into ventricles, and sometimes not so strong. So why it should be very strong? Because here the conduction is very slow, but the PR interval is very high. So the action potential should be very strong. Otherwise sometimes it may also not be strong. So here there is no QRS T wave and only there is atrial P wave. So here only P wave, no QRS T wave, because PR interval is very small, and it is said as dropped beats of ventricle. This is like, and this situation is called as secondary heart block. Now let us see this secondary block, heart block is further divided into type 1 and type 2. So let us see its division. The type 1 is also known as Wencken-Batch periodicity. So here the progressive prolongation of PR interval until the ventricular beat is dropped and it may also reset of PR interval takes place, and also repeat of abnormal cycle always caused by abnormal AV node. This block is bending and no specific treatment is needed. So it is bending, so we don't need to care more about this type 1. So next, coming to type 2. Type 2 is having fixed number of non-conducting p waves for every QRS complex. Like for example, you can take here 2:1 block, means for two blocks for each QRS complex, means for each QRS complex we can see two blocks. And also sometimes we may see the rhythms of 3:2 or 3:1, means three blocks within two QRS complex or three blocks within one QRS complex. This may also develop. This is like a very severe case. So this is mainly caused by abnormality of bundle of His and Purkinje system, and also it required the implantation of pacemaker to prevent the progression to complete the heart block and cardiac arrest. So you can understand, as there are abnormal cycles going on in a heartbeat, so if this abnormality continues, it may also lead to heart block and also complete heart block and cardiac arrest. So to prevent this, we will use the implantation of artificial pacemakers. So here in the diagram you can see the 34.6 this diagram. So in this diagram you can check out the PR intervals of 0.30 seconds and dropped ventricular beat. So you can see every PR interval is like about having time period of 0.30 seconds, and you can see the dropped ventricular beat. Normally here you can see all the ventricular beats are seen, that is ventricular depolarization, but here you can see there is no ventricular depolarization. This is mainly our second type 2 of our secondary block. So that's it. And next, coming to complete AV block. Now let us see complete AV block. This is also called as tertiary block. So this is a poor conduction in AV node or bundle, severe complete block of impulse from atria to ventricle, and they have the ventricles create their, now the ventricles will create their own signal originating in the AV node or AV bundle, and this is which is distal to the block mainly. So now AV node will create its own pacemaker. Now it is called as ectopic pacemaker because it will form its own rhythms, but this area, means this new forming pacemaker, is present distal to the block, and therefore the P waves are dissociated from QRST complex, of course, because P waves are related to atria and now QRST are related to ventricle. So now as atria is stopped, AV node is blocked, you can understand atria will have its own impulses and QRS will have its own impulses, ventricle will have its own impulses. So the rate of atria rhythm is like 100 beats per minute, and the rate of ventricular beat is less than 40 beats per minute, because you can understand from atria is its own pacemaker, so it will have higher beats, but ventricle, you can understand, it is making its other alternatives, so it is only having less beats, like 40 beats per minute. So and also no relation between the rhythm of P waves and of course QRST complexes, because the ventricles escaped from the control by atria and beating at their own rate. And our last topic is Stokes-Adams syndrome, ventricular escape. After this, we'll go to part 2. So by this, our part 1 will complete. So in AV block, patients total block comes and goes, means it will come for some time and go for some time, because you can understand AV block patient they're forming their own ventricular new pacemaker. It is not a true pacemaker, so it will have some defects, abnormalities in it. That is, suddenly impulses are conducted or stopped. Block may be from few seconds or few minutes or few hours or sometimes to the week or longer before the conduction returns. So this occurs in heart with borderline ischemia of conductive system. And each time the conduction ceases, ventricle don't start their own beating until after a delay of 5 to 30 seconds. So this delay is mainly from the phenomena called as overdrive suppression. So what is overdrive suppression? Here the ventricles suppress due to overriding of atrial, means here atrial impulses are very high when compared with ventricles, so this is called as overdrive suppression. So after this overdrive suppression, later the AV bundle distal area, that is block of distal area, start discharging at the rate of 15 to 40 times per minute. That is, now the ventricle is starting its own beats and acting as a pacemaker of ventricle. So this is called as ventricular escape. Ventricular escape means it, now the ventricle is escaping from this harmful situation, that is now no pacemaker, so it will act its own pacemaker. So this is called as ventricular escape. As brain can't stay without, brain can't stay without like about only for 4 to 7 seconds, so person easily faints in this situation in very few seconds after the complete block, because the heart won't pump for like about 5 to 30 seconds until the ventricles get escaped. So after the escape, ventricle beats like about 40 beats per minute, and rapid recovery from the faint. So this is mainly called as Stokes-Adams syndrome, and the interval of ventricle standstill at onset of complete block is so long, and it is mainly determined by the patient health or sometimes even cause it. So if the ventricular escape is not so fast, then even the patient may die because it may take long period of time. So treatment, how we can treat this patient, mainly giving the artificial pacemaker until the ventricle escape comes, and also we need to start by giving artificial pacemaker. You can understand now the rhythms may become again normal. So battery operated electronic stimulated planted beneath the skin, so we should place this beneath the skin, and the electrodes are connected to the right ventricle, and this pacemaker gives continuous rhythm impulse to the ventricle. So this is how now the impulses are formed in the ventricle, and cardiac output is also maintained well. So this is all about part 1 of our clinical applications of ECG. Next let us see part 2.